just understanding aerospace, swept wing, delta wing, ballistics, and everything else. I studied all that stuff for years. Didn't get really deep into the science other than basic high school science. But in 2010, when I was 39, something really changed. I had an experience, a very strange experience at my house with, I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, I talked about it on a few podcasts before. I felt like an otherworldly experience that I had. But after that experience happened, something happened to me with wanting to understand science at a deeper level into quantum physics. And I really started deep diving into physics. A lot of the same people you mentioned, I was researching them, studying them heavily. I actually went to Khan University, Khan. It used to be free, but now you have to pay, I think, a minimum like 10, $15 a month or something like that right now online, an online university for quantum physics. So I went there online, started taking those courses, and I was able to understand all this information. And it was so incredible. I just kept diving deeper, diving deeper. And then I opened up a Facebook group for quantum physics on Facebook, and it grew to like 139, 140,000 students. And I would help them answer questions in there and so forth, over time. And so that's really how I got into quantum physics. I just really developed this thirst for it. And I'm only talking about that incident that happened because it didn't happen until after the incident. Something triggered something or sparked something in me that made me dive into it. And then I was able to see the connection between the science and spirituality. And I realized that the quantum physics is really explaining what's happening on the spiritual realm. In other words, the quantum physics is the breakdown and understanding of spiritual energy and what's really happening when you're meditating, when you're focusing on things, when you're trying to manifest reality. All those things are really explained through quantum physics.
Yeah, well, it's you're that observer or the spooky what did I
Spooky action at a
yeah,
distance. Yeah.
spooky action at a distance.
Yeah.
Your observation of it,
Hmm.
it affects things. Things
Yeah.
aren't just you're not just perceiving it. It has when you put your finger in the water,
Hmm.
the entire ocean has to register that change of motion and condition. It
Yes.
has to be understood
Yeah.
at on some level.
Hmm.
So us gaining information by what's been laid out in front of us, presented before us, most of that is speculation. Because, like I was saying before, all of those things, all of that 4% of the universe, they've received Nobel prizes and all of that for it, but they haven't produced anything that's changing the world or the conditions or making the world a better place. So it still looks like Solomon said, you're chasing after the wind. And when you start questioning these things and going back into meditating, going back, like when I tell people that a lot of this stuff came to me, like you after having that experience and seeing that aviation phenomenon, it made you question and look into things. Well, likewise, having that dream when I was 4 or 5 years old, and being reminded that I was someplace before here,
Yeah.
and seeing all those geometries
Hmm.
and wondering why had I never seen those in school
Right.
and looking for them in school. So I started looking in the Encyclopedia Britannica,
Hmm.
and that's where you get the Platonic solids. But
Yeah.
then you have to start what we're afraid to do is question what happened before the Big Bang.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, how did this straight line come to be? I
Hmm.
started questioning
Yeah.
all of those basic things, questioning down to the calculator,
Hmm.
questioning every aspect, and questioning, okay, if what they said about God is true, that means I'm an artifact. That he just formed some clay and made me and blew some life into me.
Yeah.
And they forgot to mention, or the people that was writing it
Hmm.
was unaware of the Brownian effect,
Mm.
that clay is not some dead, unliving material. That clay is alive. It's vibrating and polarizing from positive to negative. Everything, and it's mating. Everything is mating. Like when I mentioned wave conjugations, I always hear, oh, waves don't conjugate. It's like, no, you don't understand that these things are living and are mating. The sex principle is a big part of everything. That's how the universe reproduces itself. But then questioning things like in a contained universe,